Welcome to Memorable Marketing by Media Group. Today we're interviewing someone special. His name is Rasmus Abrahamsen, and he is the marketing manager for a company called ClickLearn. They create learning materials for software when it rolls out in multiple languages, more than 45 languages. It's a niche within a niche within a niche. And he's talking about some of the challenges they have, how to do their sales, and their process that can take up to 500 days. So we get a unique insight into that and how they make their business go.
We need to team up with partners that actually are implementing the system for them.
Welcome to Memorable Marketing by Media Group. This is episode 10. Today we have a special guest. We have Rasmus Abrahamsen from ClickLearn. Nice to meet you, Rasmus.
Glad to be here, Thomas.
Thank you, and thanks for being here. So, what were you doing before you joined ClickLearn? What's your background?
Well, so I am educated in marketing and the distribution of film. I did a bachelor in that, and then I jumped to the National Film School of Denmark in the producer scheme, and have been working with feature films and documentaries for many years. Then actually 3, 4, 5 years ago, I took a break from the film industry, got a bit tired of it, and then I actually joined Doctors Without Borders and went to Malawi to work with them for a year or so in some various refugee camps, doing all sorts of weird things, logistics, finance, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, been around, but I would, consider myself as a guy from the film industry because that has been my whole life, basically, right? And then coming home from Malawi, I was like, I got a child, and I was, we all know the film business is not, you can't be certain that you get the salary next month, and it's very hard work. And so I decided to take on this position here at ClickLearn as a marketing manager. We're situated here in central Copenhagen, so the logistics is also great because I live just next by.
Oh, nice to know. I got to ask about the Doctors Without Borders. Now, you're not a doctor, but you help them
not
with
at all
financing. So
yeah, I mean, we are as a producer, you are a jack of all trades, right? And they need that. So a lot of people think that you need to be a doctor or a psychiatrist or things like that to join Doctors Without Borders, but they actually have a lot of use for people like us. So I was jack of all trades down there. It was logistic, it was HR, it was finance, it was management, and I had no clue about anything within the medical area of business, right? But so I had like 70 locals under me, and we did some HIV surveys. We built some hospitals, all these things.
Oh, so that looks like the film world where you don't know what you're doing on a daily basis.
Exactly.
So you're saying the similarities there. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So you're the marketing manager at ClickLearn. Can you tell me, what is ClickLearn?
Well, so ClickLearn is a digital adoption solution that automatically creates training material and documentation for business software. It saves times and ensure user adoption by automating the process of training material. So you record your processes, and ClickLearn automatically does 7 different formats of whatever you did. So shoot it out in Word documents, in PowerPoints, in virtual assistants, process videos, does it in 45 languages plus, and even you can even, once you have a new business software update, we have a replay function or feature. That means just with a click of a button, all your created learning material is updated instantly. And that's because ClickLearn actually understands the underlying business system. So to put it easy, if you have a big company, you need to implement a new ERP system or a new business software. You, of course, need to have your users to understand how to use it. And this is where ClickLearn comes into play. So there are various kind of our company, of our solutions, but we truly believe that our solution is a lot better than the other ones because it has a lot of more features. We actually teach the users how to use their software rather than just show them. Bit like the old saying, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, teach a man how to fish and you feed him for a lifetime, right? Or as I like to say it, we're not a GPS. When you drive with a GPS, you will never learn the way to where you're going, right? You just look at the GPS, right? Whereas we actually teaches us, because we have so many formats and ways of doing it, and there's nobody who learns the same way. Somebody likes to see a video of how to learn things, somebody wants to read it, somebody wants to follow an assistant on screen, all these things, right? So that's the gist of ClickLearn.
Okay. And you said that you have it instantly translating to 45 languages. Is that, I mean, I've seen Google Translate come out with some horrible translations sometimes. How have you cracked the code there in languages, or what's going on?
Yeah, we have, yeah, well, so we use another software to do it for us, but it's not that difficult here because it is set words, right? In many of these business systems, it's press this can be pretty easy translated, right? So, but we're very satisfied with our translation. We don't have any issues with it. We actually have it. I think 45 is put it very short. We have a lot of languages, right? And in this world, differentiating between languages is such a nice feature, right? Where all companies basically are worldwide at the moment, right? And if you can just do all your learning material in one click, change it into anything, right? You don't need to spend time and money on translators spending hours and days for this. But ClickLearn was founded back in 2009 by three guys, three IT pioneers who had a deep understanding of the complexity of ERP systems. And they found that in this rapid developing digital world, the need for quality and varied learning materials and documentation was extremely important. So they developed the software to overcome this. And actually didn't know, but they ended up building an unparalleled versatile solution with many complex, complete features. So they started adapting it to the Microsoft Dynamics platform, but quickly realized that there are many ERP systems, and now we can do it on basically every system. So, and also web browsers, Windows apps, Microsoft Office, you name it, anything goes.
All right. Okay. And so you have customers around the world?
All around the world, biggest in North America, then comes EMEA, and then we just opened up an office in Perth, Australia as well. And we have a developing office in India, in Ahmedabad, and an office in Florida, St. Petersburg, Florida, and here in Copenhagen. So we are all customers all around the world.
And in terms of getting customers, in terms of the whole marketing aspect, as this podcast, of course, is about, how do you acquire, how do you get a new customer? How do you find a customer? You can walk me through that.
Yeah,
and
so that'll move us into one of the challenges we actually have. So no, finding customers, well, that has been some of our challenges because our customers need to be in a digital transformation period. And we do not really know when they are that. When do they implement a new business system, right? That has been one of our major challenges. So we started off with only doing perpetual licenses for customers, but quickly realized that in order to find customers that are in a digital transformation, we need to team up with partners that actually are implementing the system for them. Consultant houses, all these other businesses that does that, because they will know, and they will know when their customers need it. So we did a reseller program or a partner program. So now we actually do both and are juggling between that because, and we will probably get back to that later, that has really been one of the biggest issue, pinpointing when are the customers in need of our solution. That also means that when we don't know, we need to kind of be top of mind all the time, right? But imagine what that would cost in marketing dollars just to be top of mind all the time, right? That's basically impossible. So we need to be there at the right time, and we're not. I like to use the phrase that we're not like Coca-Cola. We can not just turn up the marketing dollars and then expect people to take our system, right? We're needed when we're needed.
Need it when you need it. So these partners you're talking about, they go in because they're working with these potential customers that you have, and they know when they're changing. And you have a affiliate deal with them. You have some sort of where they get paid to recommend you. And so, is your majority of the traffic coming that way through? If I may ask.
Yes, and it will be more and more. We just flipped over to a partner program 1.5 years ago. So we're just upscaling that at the moment. But yeah, it's actually it's a win-win situation for the partners as well, because they get happy customers. The implementations go way faster. They save help desk time by 80%. But yeah, that is the way ahead, I think, as well, because it's so difficult to find. We do some live events, conferences where we do meet some of our end users, but it's this it has, I don't know, it's a small, maybe it's smaller businesses that finds us themselves, because the bigger businesses usually have consultants or ERP or business system implementers, right?
So you don't do any normal marketing then, if I.
Yeah, we do. And we've tried out both, PPC, retargeting, Google Ads, all these things, and some of them in order to be, as I said before, top of mind. But again, we found it very difficult to pinpoint the exact time where people needs us. So we also try to. We do a lot of webinars, and we try to pinpoint them to specific industries that could use us, so to stay top of mind. And we use at the moment, we also use influencers like Microsoft MVPs to help us brand. We do our own conferences, try together. So we are at the moment we are doing, of course, LinkedIn and Twitter and some YouTube. And now we just toned a bit down on our PPC and Google Ads, because we found that we didn't get the traction we wanted. We actually had good numbers, but we could see that it would cost us a fortune to keep on going, and we didn't get the customers we needed out of it.
No, it's expensive. PPC is expensive because you get
it is, right? And we must admit that we are fighting our competitors that are way bigger than us. I mean, they have billions in marketing budget, and we don't. So we need to be the smart guys. Try something else, right? And that has worked fine. Now we are not complaining at all. We have lots of customers, and it just keeps going up. We just got, what was it? Top 100 of fastest growing companies in Europe 3 times in a row. The Danish Gazelle Award 5 times in a row. So it's really going well. And there are so many people who has a business software and has the need for documentation and user adoption and training and e-learning. So I mean, it's huge, the scale of the potential for these guys, right?
So you're not doing, well, you tried PPC and you found it's very expensive. Are you doing SEO? Are you doing any search engine optimization?
Yes. We're actually doing it ourselves. We haven't hired a company to do that, but we do that by, of course, being on as many review sites as possible.
Yes.
So that's where we put our energy in, because of course that will help our SEO, right?
Yeah. And is that
But we're not paying for it anymore.
No, okay. But is it helping? Are you getting any traffic through that? Are you getting any clients through there? SEO?
It's starting. We pushed on it like half a year ago, so we're just seeing the start of it, I would say. But we have that in mind every time we do something, and we keep looking for new places where we can be mentioned, and where, yeah, also when we build up our home our web page, how do we do that in terms of SEO as well, right? So it's not like we don't know it and we really want to get up there, but on the other hand, we cannot financially battle against our two biggest competitors. So we'll do it ourselves and find the good words, the good words that people are searching for, right?
That makes sense. Yeah. So, so the customer journey is primarily coming through your partners because, again, talking about marketing, one of our clients is selling robot arms and for factories, and you just don't go out and wake up one morning and buy 10 robot arms, right? I mean, it's a long process, and I presume what you're doing is also
yeah. So we have a very long process, and also because it's so important. Imagine you are in implementing a business system for $10 million, you would want to make sure that it works, but you also want to make sure that the software you use to document it and user adoption actually also works. So it's not uncommon that we have people in our funnel for 500 days, 300 days before they sign. Yeah, so a long funnel up until 500 days, right? But we can see that we met some people way back 3 years ago. We met them at a conference, and then 3 years later, they actually re-engaged with us, right?
They're ready to make the next step. So this long funnel approach, is that through your partners or is that something through your website? How do you keep them warm? How do you keep them interested in this period of up to 500 days?
It's a good question, and it's really difficult. So the long ones are primarily not through partners. Those are the people we find ourselves and approach ourselves. Keep them warm, yeah. I mean, we do newsletters and we ask them to join us on our LinkedIn, and we keep coming places where they are, just again to be kind of top of mind. But we're not spamming them, of course, every week. But hey, remember, and we don't have a sales guy calling them up every second week, because again, we don't know when they need us, right? So hopefully they will remember us and have had a good chat with some of our people in here when they actually need it. And then after that, they come to us, and then they get a trial license, they get training and all these things, and then they'll check it out, and then they'll do their due diligence, and then finally.
Yeah, the reason why I mentioned the robot arms before is because we learned and we figured out a system where people come in, and it's the average is 9 months from their researching new robot arms to the actually buying for their factory. It's a big process, and so we come up with a system where, they download reports, they get signed up, they get emails, they get reminders, they can watch videos. There's a whole process where you hold their hand, and then they're finally ready to come out of the bottom. Then they're ready to buy, and then there's a sales team who can take over. And again, it's a matter of putting as many leads in at the top, and then have that, just like wine, that's aging thing that's happening through that funnel to get them down there. So
yes and no. I mean, I can buy lots of list of email addresses for people who would be possible customers, and I could do that, take a shovel and just put down the funnel, but that might not be so smart. I mean, we are actually trying to target them even more, because it is a big waste of time for our sales department just to sit and take 5,000 lukewarm leads that might turn out to nothing, rather than maybe taking a lot less, but they're actually good, right? It's two different approaches. We tried both. I'm not saying one is right or another. We just found that the latter was better for us.
But when people are searching for it, and again, search engine optimization, I'm just curious about that. If you can go back to that a little bit, because when people are searching for it, they're at least doing some research, at least in a mode of let's try and find out what options there are there. So I'm glad you guys are doing something about that, because I think that's a given, and you can get them on a guided tour, so to speak, at that time. That's something that,
we tried when we did the PPC and the Google Ads. We tried, pinpoint what words would you search for, right, when you're looking for implementing a new system and user adoption. So we have a list of 200 words that are very good, right, for that, and that's also the ones we put in our pages in terms of SEO, right?
What's the biggest challenge you guys have now from a marketing perspective? You mentioned a little bit in the beginning, trying to figure out where people are in their journey. From a marketing point of view, what's your challenge for helping sort that out?
Well, the challenge is it's a lot of money because in order to be top of mind everywhere, it's just impossible. And And as we touched on before, it's quite difficult to pinpoint who exactly we can target. Like, to use the Coca-Cola example again, if we cannot just turn it up, we need to really pinpoint them, and that's very difficult. We've been doing personas and all these things to try to figure out who is our customer, or who in the organizations do we need to target. Is it the business implementer? Is it the HR? Is it the learning? Is it the C-level? Who influences who in this process of implementing a business system? And we tried a bit of both, and we're still searching. It's blue ocean, trying, figuring out what's going on, how does it work best, right? But definitely for us, having partners that the companies trust selling our product or promoting our products is by far the best in terms of pinpointing, right?
The word of mouth is so much stronger because they recommend it, and that's, I mean, they have a
and
financial
somebody takes kind of responsibility for it, right?
Exactly, no, can help it.
But you're totally right. The buying circle of cycles of everybody has changed a lot over the last couple of years. Now we actually do our research ourselves. Nobody really searches one time and go in and buy the product, right? Even if it might be the best, we want to make sure for our own sake, I did my research, right? And so you need to be there, and you need to have reviews, right? Back to reviews, because that's what people actually do.
Yes, absolutely. People trust that. Maybe not the Amazon reviews anymore, but in your business,
Trustpilot, maybe not, but that varies from business to business, right? But for us, Gartner or some of the big consulting companies or review companies or websites, right?
That's a good thing to have. Absolutely, that's very, very important. Yeah, Corona's definitely affected everyone. Obviously, things have moved more online, because normally you would meet people at a conference or.
Yeah. So, but that's, yeah, exactly. So COVID-19 we thought that the whole thing was going down for us, like every other company had big issues. But then we found that we couldn't be in our best marketplaces, which was the face-to-face meeting our customers at conference. That's where we get by far the most and the by far best leads. But then we saw that, all companies work from home. Every company kind of understood that they needed a digital transformation. And that's like a silver bullet for us. That's perfect for us. And we thought, okay, great. Now they'll all come to ClickLearn, because we can actually help them, right, with this. But then it also, of course, turned out that the companies were very reluctant to invest in anything, because they didn't know if they were going to make money next year. So they kept holding on it. So what could have been a great opportunity actually turned into another challenge, because yes, they could see they needed us, but they weren't certain if they were going to implement it now or spend money on something, because they had no idea how next year looked like, right?
Oh, that makes sense, because they don't know what they're going to be around for a year or two. But
exactly,
now,
right.
Most companies have weathered the storm, and I guess we're going back to some sort of normality.
We do.
Who knows
But they also all of them got their eyes open for how important a digital transformation is. I mean, just Teams, we have a connector for Teams it works as well on that. And you could see everybody's using Teams or Zoom. We're needed, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Absolutely, yes.
And now, so the good thing that came out of this from our perspective is that, yes, people have gotten their eyes up for that they need to address this issue. They really need to be in a digital transformation if they aren't already. And that could be good for us, right?
Just going back to PPC, you mentioned a little bit in the beginning. You mentioned LinkedIn. So is LinkedIn a good place for what you're?
LinkedIn would probably be the best for us. I chose not to. We chose not to go on Facebook and some of the others, Instagram. We don't really feel that our audience is there. Twitter, yes, and LinkedIn. And then of course we have a YouTube channel, and we spend a lot of time on content for those platforms. Videos, of course, is great. Small videos that works well on LinkedIn, and of course YouTube. And using a lot of energy on customer case stories. That's one of the good things for us. Actually, people are happy for the product, so a lot of people are willing to do that for us, and that means we can, as you do it here on your podcast, we can edit it up in smaller and longer bits. to exactly what we need it for, right? And then our sales department can use that for another guy in, let's say, the medical industry.
That this guy over here said this thing about the medical industry and how it helped
Exactly.
us. Yes, exactly.
Right.
Right. I'm glad to hear that. That's good.
So,
Right.
but it is, I mean, and it's the same. Everybody's trying to figure out what is the smartest, and you can hire 1 million people that will tell you how to be the best at SEO or the best at LinkedIn, and you need to have cross platforms for your SEO and for all these things. And it's also, it's an investment. It's not only big amounts of money, it's actually all huge amount of time for us, resources within here to produce all this content and material that is needed, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That makes total sense. All right, Rasmus, it's been absolutely a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for taking your time to explain more about your company and how you guys do marketing. I really appreciate it. And I wish you the best of luck with what you're doing.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Shane. And if you have any follow-up questions, just approach me and
okay,
we'll touch base later. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
At the end of every podcast, I bring in Zane, who is our producer. He's here in the background to make us sound good. I don't know if it makes us look good, but it's always good to hear Zane's perspective and point on the podcast. So
because I know nothing.
It's just good to have a dialogue afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Zane, what did you think about Rasmus and what they were trying to do in their company, ClickLearn?
I think it's a very interesting company that they run because it is a necessity for anyone who's rolling out anything to provide learning materials for it.
Yes.
And obviously that is a hugely labor intensive, or at least traditionally a hugely labor intensive thing.
Yeah.
That being said, what he was talking about is very understandable. Like finding the customers who are in the right place that they need that particular service at that time.
At the right time.
How do you filter that out?
Yeah.
And I think that's a very interesting, the way that they're doing it is very interesting, is like they're letting other people know what they do so that when their customers go to these other people for advice on how to grow their business and roll it out, they get referrals.
I think that's a smart, because Rasmus was saying that just within an organization, who is it? Is the CTO guy? Is it the human resources? Is it somebody at C-level? Who is the one who is in charge of the learning that goes out with the software? Who is the person to talk to? And he said it changes so much from organization to organization, so it's hard to pinpoint the right person. But I was impressed that they do 45 languages, just like that.
That's a great product. Like, so obviously they have a product that they have to get in front of people, and it's that discovery that is the issue. Yeah. Because again, like I never even thought of this process. I just thought that when you write an instruction manual or tutorial, you have to do everything. Yes. And it's like then you have to translate it into Hindi, or you have to translate it into
German, French, all these different languages. And it's a good service they provide. So very impressive, and I'm glad he was on the
and I think dealing with COVID, because again, like a lot of businesses who focused on dealing face to face and like finding people who are in a need, so at a convention or whatever, and you're presenting directly to them. Then in COVID, how do you change your process?
Yes,
everyone's moved online, and so that, like you said, like that could be a great thing for their particular business, but you still need people who are willing to invest.
Or who can see further ahead, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months.
And again, it's about finding that person at the right time.
Yes.
And then word of mouth. I think that's the right way to go about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I hope that him being on this podcast can help them a little bit. So hopefully,
fingers crossed.
Maybe we'll find out. All right, Zane, thanks for your 2 cents. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.